Kinahan cartel have been on the run for years, from Ireland and even the US, with a 15 million reward on all of them combined. They dominated boxing in a short time, worked on a $100 million deal between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury that fell through.
To getting off the phone with Daniel Kinahan.
Signed hundreds of fighters before it all come crashing down at a fatal press conference. Rumours that they're in Russia, they're part of the mafia, they're still in Dubai, or even fled to Africa. The FBI have still not caught the main guys years later who are said to be still running a billion-dollar empire across the world. Daniel Joseph Kinahan is born to Christy Kinahan Sr., a serial fraudster turned heroin importer with convictions for forgery, burglary and handling stolen goods. Senior pioneers Ireland's first major heroin imports from Amsterdam, nicknamed the Ballroom Blitz Network, amassing €500,000 annually in the 1980s by flooding Dublin's northern inner city. Daniel, as 18, assists in low-level tasks like collections and storage, and Senior flees to the Netherlands in 1993 after a €1.5 million cocaine seizure, building European alliances with Dutch and Moroccan syndicates. Daniel drops out of school, entering petty crime, joyriding, shoplifting and minor assaults. At 17 to 18, Daniel joins his father in Amsterdam operations, handling couriers and laundering via fake invoices. The family relocates frequently to avoid the Irish police. Senior serves some time in Belgium, 4 years for money laundering, and Netherlands 6 years for heroin and 2.5 years for cocaine possession. Daniel learns global sourcing and forging ties in South America. These are the guys that they talk about that are at the top of the food chain. They're the people just below the ones that import these massive amounts of drugs and maneuver them around whole cities. They're establishing themselves as key players. Many people that knew Daniel said he was a nice guy and he was born into a life of crime.
I have spoken to people who knew him when he was a young guy in Dublin here.
In his 20s, yeah.
And in his teen years as well. And they describe him as being good fun. They describe him as being, you know, a loyal friend, a nice guy, a really charming guy.
Yeah.
In the year 2000, age 23, Daniel and 4 accomplices assault 2 police officers outside a stadium in Dublin using bottles and fists in a turf dispute. Their bail was denied and they was charged with grievous body harm, but charges mysteriously dropped in 2001 amid witness intimidation claims. These are the first sort of times that we see that the family can pull off stuff if they want to. You've got someone attacking the police, which you would never normally do in any walk of life, but these guys managed to pull off getting out of that situation and somehow getting the charges dropped with their connection. Post-release, Daniel oversees Dublin's cocaine distribution via his father's Dutch contracts. He's implicated in a €10 million bet to lose horse racing syndicate with UK jockey Kieran Fallon. This came out in a 2007 trial. They said that he runs a legitimate furniture store as a front, but was laundering €2 to €3 million annually through property flips and accumulates his first assets, a €300,000 apartment in Ballsbridge. So when you're making money in the drug game, making money is one part, but washing it is another. And they say that early on he had a furniture store where you could sell bits of furniture cash and put money through that as money was coming in. But another thing was bet to lose, where you could forge all the people involved in these races and make your outcome happen. At one point, it actually said a former Dublin furniture shop owner, Daniel Kinahan, travelled from Spain to Newmarket to confront the jockey Kieran Fallon in his own home in the early hours after his bet to lose syndicate lost £160,000 or €230,000 because he won the race. It was one of these several races that the syndicate expected him to throw, but he went on to win that Old Bailey had heard. Apparently this is one way that the Kinahans were trying to wash their own money many years ago, but that case ended up collapsing and actually cost the taxpayers $10 million and was considered a sad episode for sport.
Huge waste of taxpayers' money. There was plenty of evidence available throughout the investigation which showed that there was no case to answer for Kieran Fallon.
Yeah, I just want to thank all the trainers who come to court.
Between 2007 and 2009, a leaked US embassy cable brands Daniel as suspected international drug trafficking figure. They spoke about Kinahan's shipments. He travels to South America negotiating with the Cali cartel for multi-ton cocaine deals, and the family invest in Costa del Sol in Marbella for gyms and was trying to launder their money there as well. 2010, the Spanish police with the Irish UK forces raid 50 plus locations. Recibido. seizing €5 million in drugs and cash and arresting Daniel. He was detained briefly for cocaine possession but released without charge due to lack of priors. He flees to a permanent Marbella base, where he said he used 13 restaurants and bars and was dubbed a super cartel and was laundering money. And his brother Christopher Jr. was in control of logistics. Their next bet to launder money was allegedly boxing.
Matthew Macklin and Sergio Martinez, a spirited battle in
Daniel enters via Marbella Gym and signs prospects like Macklin and forms MTK, initially MGM, in 2012 and grows to 300 plus fighters by 2015, apparently using it to launder 10 to 15 million euros annually. Apparently this is a new sport now that's going to try and wash money through boxing, and they come through fast and aggressive, taking over. Matt the Knife, MTK Global was the company.
Now MTK was founded by Kinahan,
Yeah,
the drug dealer.
yeah.
Did you know that?
I knew who it was founded by, yeah.
Why did you join them?
Well, at the stage...
That was a risky thing to do, wasn't it?
Well, I don't think it was. MTK at that time were probably the biggest... I mean, they were involved with every promoter on the planet. Top Rank, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, Frank Warren. They had some of the big fighters like Fury on their books.
He said that they were networking with the elites, but secretly were brokering cocaine deals at events, and the ties deepened with the Irish gangs. By 2015, searchers uncovered Daniel's passport, MTK docs, and Christopher Jr.'s boarding pass, plus links to murders. Daniel just ignores summons, and a raid exposed Irish operations. They found 5 kg of cocaine and seized it. In Marbella, Daniel allegedly ordered the execution of Gary Hart, Jerry the Monk Hutch's nephew, over a €1.75 million drug theft. 3 gunmen, including Freddie Thompson, shot Hutch 6 times. Spanish police later testify Daniel directed this via phone, and it sparks a deadly war of 18 murders and €100 million in disrupted deals, and Daniel ramps up the Enco chat. It seems like this was a retaliation of them both trying to whack each other that come out recently in a BBC documentary.
While we're investigating, the cops are investigating, Daniel Kinahan's carrying out his own investigation, so he's the first to know that actually this was an attempt on his life.
The hitman and an associate drove off, made their getaway. Police were able to identify the car. Corrupt cops basically told Daniel Kinahan this car was used in the shooting. We're absolutely sure. They know straight away the only person with access to that car was Gary Hutch. You couldn't over-exaggerate how profound an event that was. Here we have Gary Hutch from gangland royalty trying to whack his boss, who was from gangland royalty as well.
After one of the Hutch's own members were taken out, they're not going to sit down and do nothing. Things crossed over in the boxing world. A 6-man hit squad, 4 disguised as police officers, 1 as a woman, storms the hotel, blazing, targeting Daniel. He flees via window, and associate Daniel Bryan, a 33-year-old father of 2, was killed and 2 was wounded. Assault shock Ireland and prompts 200 extra police officers, and Daniel, fearing for his life, abandons to Spain within days, flying to Dubai because there's no extradition treaties there. The feud escalates and he directs revenge for this affair.
How can one of the most prolific wanted villains of Ireland put a boxing show on and there'd be no police officers there?
I remember that.
Right, there's no police. I was there. There's no police officers there. No police officers there before, during.
Was that when the guys came in with the machine guns?
Machine guns, yeah.
They tried to take him out, didn't they?
Yeah, they tried,
I remember.
And they shot young Davy Byrne, rest his soul. Do you know what I mean? And it's people come dressed as police into an establishment, kill people and left, when the most high-profile person of Ireland is in the building. How is that possible? Intelligence, police protection, even looking after the public. If he was that notorious, then there should have been police there.
And days later, Daniel allegedly orders Eddie Hutch Sr., Jerry's brother, who's 58, to be shot 6 times in Dublin. It says the police file recommends charging Daniel as this war was just intensifying. There were multiple hits. A close friend of Jerry Hutch's his whole life, Noel Kerwin, an innocent bystander, was murdered by December 2016 outside his Dublin home. Sean McGovern, Daniel's right-hand man, was arrested in 2024 for it. Daniel was settling down in Dubai and allegedly bought a penthouse and a Lamborghini and a yacht, uses Dubai as his new facilitation hub, hosting encrypted meetings. So the police were looking into it more, and an operation identifies 500 million euros laundered via Brazilian properties and European shells. And Daniel's network spans across Asia and the Middle East as he brokers 2-ton cocaine loads from Peru. In 2017-2019, MTK's global era with the Tyson Fury links in their boxing camp, they brokered Tyson Fury's 2019 top rank switch and spent $27,000 winning Fury in Dubai, and secretly guarantees fees under the table for millions. In 2025 court filings, this will come out. Fury publicly praises him. ESPN even threatened to drop Top Rank just over links to him, and he had signed 50 fighters and laundered 20 million euros through boxing annually. And apparently boxer Billy Joe Saunders DM'd a journalist called Nicola offering Kinahan interview for positive coverage, and Kinahan denies crimes on TalkSport. A YouTube propaganda film, Regency Discover the Truth, resurfaces glorifying him. In June 2020, it said that he brokered a 100 million fight, and Fury credits him publicly igniting Irish fury.
Hello there, I'm just after getting off the phone with Daniel Kinahan. He's just informed me that the biggest fight in British boxing history has just been agreed.
And the BBC Panorama details threats to reporters, and Kinahan runs the Google reviews, which they were trying to track him down through. It wasn't long before Ireland issued warrants for Daniel and Christie Sr. and Jr. for directing criminal organisations and murders. Dubai freezes 5 million euros in accounts but delays the extradition. This gave them some time. Then the family were properly by the US sanctioned. Their whole family was on the wanted list, and they had global assets blocked, and there was even 5 million euros per person reward for helping with their arrest and conviction.
And so today, the United States Department of State is pleased to announce a reward of up to $5 million for information leading to the financial disruption of the KTCO or the arrest and convictions of its leaders, Christopher Vincent Kinahan, Daniel Joseph Kinahan, and Christopher Kinahan Jr. This reward is offered under the Department of State's Transnational Organized Crime Rewards Program.
MTK Global, the boxing company, collapses with 300 jobs lost. Top Rank's Bob Arum regrets ties, and Daniel uses Hawala to evade, and Fury of course distanced himself.
Yeah. After having seen what the US authorities have said, will you be severing all ties with him?
You know, what the US have said, and that's it. We have to listen to the government, and that's what we do. End of. Because I don't want to get in trouble with the US government, which I've never have been, and that's it.
So you won't be dealing with him business-wise going forward?
I haven't done any dealing business with him in the last for a long time. I think there was a statement released in 2020, so that was the end of the business. The fight with Joshua didn't happen, and that was it.
But Bob Arum said that he'd made more than $1 million from four of your fights.
Yeah.
So he was involved in those fights.
What Bob Arum does with his own money is Bob Arum's business. If he goes and spends it on gummy bears or cans of pop, I don't care what he does with it.
A associate to Daniel Kinahan was then nabbed Costa del Sol and extracted to Ireland, and 6 more followed by 2024. 20 million euros is seized in Dubai firms, and Daniel sells non-sanctioned properties quietly. The police link him to a 2023 seizure of 4 tons of cocaine. UAE and Ireland come out of a deal with regards to the Kinahans. The police send DPP files on Daniel for Eddie Hutch's murder and the org direction. A right-hand man of Daniel Kinahan called McGovern is arrested in Dubai on April via Interpol red notice for the Kerwin murder and organised crime. After this, the police had come out and issued warnings to the main guys, the top of the cartel, saying that you're next, you cannot hide forever.
Yes, they should be worried, but they should have been worried now for a number of years, because there's huge investigative effort and international effort has gone into the investigation of the overall kind of organised crime gang. A lot of things which said couldn't be done have been done. So following on from the sanctions, the work then that we've undertaken with the UAE and the work that specifically we've undertaken then with the police in Dubai has been very fruitful. They have been very active partners with us in terms of investigation, providing us information, and obviously then UAE authorities have worked to support the extradition, and we see an individual then extradited back to Ireland to face justice here, and that's the correct thing to do. But I would also point point out then, the other senior lieutenants within the Kinahan organised crime group who are now facing justice or are imprisoned, and the sanctions and the rewards still stand. And I would point to, there's $15 million there of reward money through the federal law enforcement authorities of the US. So that is still in play as well. And I just want to remind others in the Kinahan organised crime gang of the perilous position that they're now in, that ourselves and other law enforcement are fixed on them, and we are fixed on bringing them all to justice.
By this time, one of their mansions was also getting auctioned for €800,000, a bargain post seizure, and the family disposes of €15 million in Dubai holdings. The Irish police report a year from hell in 2024 for the Kinahans, with €50 million disrupted. In US court filings of Keane versus Top Rank, it said that Daniel secretly consulted for €25 million of deals, of earning bonuses for Fury and guarantees.
So he got $4 million from some combination of Bob Arum's Top Rate Boxing and Tyson Fury for helping arrange some matches in Saudi Arabia. But why would Bob Arum, who's been the biggest promoter in boxing for 50 years, Bob Arum's 89, he promoted Muhammad Ali, he outlasted Don King, and why would Bob Arum and Tyson Fury, the current heavyweight champion, one of the most recognizable names in the world, why would they need help setting up a boxing match in Saudi Arabia? So Daniel Kinahan got paid $4 million for that. Global banking system, aka, well, with their ties to the U.S. criminal justice system, there'd be no way to know if, say, Daniel Kinahan put $6 million in the pot of the purse, and in exchange got, $4 million back, say, in consulting fees. That's now clean money.
This highlights ESPN's risk from the cartel links. There was other rumours that come out about them fleeing to Russia, but just recently we see in a New York case that there was a failed 2022 rival plot where Daniel vowed to keep the neutral Dubai links, and it confirmed that he was still in Dubai and not fleeing despite rumours. The Irish police bundles DPP and murder and charges, and the BBC series airs featuring undercover ops and a $1 billion empire valuation. A recent article had said today nearly every member of that super cartel is behind bars, a lot of them serving life in different parts of the world. It says yet Daniel Kinahan continues to wake up under the desert sun far from Ireland's reign. He is, in the words of one former DEA agent, the last man standing. But even empires built on wealth and fear are not immortal. The international pressure is growing, and Dubai's tolerance may not last forever. For now, the world's most wanted drug lord lives large, shopping, dining and breathing freely in a city that's made luxury its own kind of law. A funny side story to this, being some of the most wanted people on earth, you would never expect one of the members, the father, to leave Google reviews constantly about places he's been, hotels, restaurants, everywhere he goes to, he leaves Google reviews. Is he just trying to give the police false hope?
A review from 2 years ago in the common grounds in the Mall of the Emirates. Christy Kinahan said the staff were relatively friendly, service was reasonably good. One negative point in my opinion was the lady serving me insisted on calling me boss. I did explain that I did not like to be called boss, and please could you call me Chris, Mr. Vincent, sir. The waitress tittered. I thought nothing more of it. We were paying the bill. My friend was kind enough to pay the bill, and we were about to leave when the same waitress made a point of saying, "Thanks, boss." Other than my sensitive disposition and taking the dining experience in its entirety, I would rate this establishment a 4-star.
Detectives are apparently now predicting a 2025 arrest, with a Dubai treaty being worked on. Obviously the McGovern, the right hand man, getting arrested and him getting extradited is a good sign for the police. The speculation of the Kinahan bunding and plans to flee to Russia via mafia protection got leaked, but Dubai remains the base with no convictions yet. He's evading any media spotlight and trying to keep a low profile. We're now fastly approaching the end of 2025 as I made this video, and there is no arrest of the top guys, the 3 main ones that the American have put out that appeal for. But it does seem like Ireland are putting more and more pressure on Dubai to do something about it. Apparently the police have been reaching out to the media outlets and giving some information, like the Irish Mirror and Dublin Live have made reports saying that the Kinahans are on the ropes after 2024 losses, including assets at auctions and Dubai treaties on the horizon now. They predict a killer punch via international alliances, with America obviously wanting them and other countries getting involved.
Do you think that the Kinahans let their heart rule their head in relation to the feud? In other words, if they didn't get involved in this feud, they'd still be as powerful and rich as they were in 2015. Was it a disaster for them, the feud, in the end?
Oh, I think so, yeah, I would say that, yeah, for sure. I think there was other criminal groups that we would hear rumours were asked to get involved and all the rest of it, and didn't. If they had stayed, kept their noses clean, or not, it's about flying below the radar as much as you can, I think, for a lot of these organisations. When you go to attack state institutions, or when you put yourself out there like that, there's going to be, I think, John Gilligan learned that lesson, and then nowadays the Kinahans have learned that lesson, maybe, or maybe not. And if you go and push the envelope out that far, that you're challenging the institutions of the state, which is what they were doing basically, and giving the two fingers to society in general. I always think that the state, and I always hope they would respond when the resources of the state are mobilised, shall we say, and put to use the legal resources, the physical resources, the personnel, and all the rest of it. There can only be one winner, in my view.
With files on Daniel for Eddie Hutch's 2016 murder being added to DPP, we see Daily Mail report that the pact will soon be enabled for deportation of the Kinahan leaders. Daniel, Christie Sr. and Christian Jr. will be going back to Ireland for murder and drug smuggling and firearm charges. It says the Irish police emphasise pressure on the Three Musketeers, with European arrest warrants now active, and the Kinahans' Dubai assets of €20 million are being frozen, making it even harder for them.
Daniel Kinahan has lived in Dubai for many years now. He got married there in a ceremony in 2017. But a number of the international guests are now in less plush surroundings. American law enforcement was covertly watching as Daniel Kinahan tied the knot at a 7-star hotel.
The drug enforcement agency was at the wedding, looking at the guests, who was invited, what are the links.
Dubai has long been a haven for international criminals, but it seems times are changing. This eye-catching video was released last August by authorities in Dubai.
Imperiali's tricks of vanishing and camouflaging his presence were not enough to fool the eyes of Dubai police. Thus, he fell.
As well as being an alleged senior mafioso type figure, he's also, in his own words, an art lover. And so, he bought 2 stolen masterpieces. And 14 years later, they were found. In 2016, the stolen paintings found in Naples were returned here to Amsterdam. The following year, Imperiale was seen in Dubai, one of many international guests at the wedding of Daniel Kinahan.
The cartel are still finding a way to make money. The Sun revealed that the Kinahans have been forging South American links for multi-ton shipments that valued at €157 million. So getting in all this illegal money is the part that the Kinahan know how to do very well. They got trusted links throughout, but it's finding a way to wash that money and make it legit. What they was doing through boxing, through properties, everything's getting seized left, right and centre, and the trusted people around them are getting arrested. It's making the operations a lot harder now. There's been rumours recently in articles that the mob boss Daniel Kinahan is making a comeback to boxing, probably more behind the scenes now, just putting up the money for some of these fights. He needs to find a way to put some of this money in somewhere. The only time officially we're going to get to hear from Daniel Kinahan, where it seemed like he's going to clear a lot of the speculation around his name up, was at James English interview, but due to legal reasons it never come out, mainly because what he's going to say in that podcast, if they eventually did get arrested and brought in, it'd all be used against him.